evening and welcome back to another show from us at the Double Pivot. I'm FPL veteran. Opposite me, or to the side of me anyway, is FPL discomfort Kieran. Kieran, how's your week been, mate? It's been a hectic week, especially for me and you. We've hardly spoke. Talk to me. How was your week, pal?
We haven't, mate, and I think even up to about 30 seconds ago, there were still things being done to get us ready for this, and all kinds of other aspects. It's been that kind of manic one with Arsenal obviously playing today. Lots of football on, I guess, really since
Yeah.
since the football. And yeah, I'm looking at getting a house at the moment, so you throw that into the mix as well with a job and all kinds of other varying things, and you kind of go, oh, it's Thursday and it's gone 10 o'clock. We should probably be live by now. So yeah,
Yeah.
busy
Yeah.
one. But what about yourself, mate? How's the week been for you?
Yeah, it's been a hectic 2 weeks, really. I think after the international break, everyone just starts the kind of work ramps up is kind of pre-Christmas and all that kind of stuff, and that's kind of what happened. I was down refereeing down south in England, kind of near you, which was good. I like I said on the show. In fact, I was on Juice at the weekend as well, which was good. And then
Nice.
I went out with Sim and Alf on the streets of Mill Hill doing some content, which was good. It'll be out later this week, but no, it was a good week. It was hectic. It was literally non-stop, but enjoyable. And I'm liking. Do you know what? Before we move on, I just want to say the Champ League. I was one of them at the start. I was like, nah, I'm not in for this league. Nah, it sounds rubbish. But I tell you what, Champ League on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm in for it. I'm in for it.
It's good, isn't it? It's definitely
Yeah.
a lot of football on. Another fancy game to play, and annoyingly,
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
quite good at the UEFA games. It's my whole ball recovery thing, mate. Like, look, I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but just again to throw it out there, defenders I've had in the Champions League this week in the fantasy game, I had Matvienko. No one's got him, do they?
I seen
No,
that. I was like, oh, you cheeky little guy. Yeah, I
no,
seen that. It
no
was a good
one's got
shot.
him. Player of the match, so that was just a cheeky 11 pointers for him, 8 points for Guerrero, 12 points for Grimaldo. So yeah, it's definitely a game that I feel I might be slightly better at ones where they throw in a few more things, and I think that's kind of what your and
Yeah.
my thoughts are in general. That we enjoy talking about football, and it all then comes down to the points of the finest margins, and yeah, the UEFA one does
Mm.
too. But there's other aspects in terms of how you see games playing out that can kind of be rewarded in it. But overall, yeah, just glad to have football on more frequently.
Yeah. So, well, you were watching the Arsenal game tonight, weren't you? I seen the Raya save, by the way. Fantastic double save it was.
Unreal,
Nil
right?
nil. Yeah, it was class. I think.
It's another one, and I put a tweet out about it, and then as I was listening, I heard them say it on the commentary. And went, "Yep, knew it was coming eventually." But should he have done better with the rebound? Stop it. Can we just say that was
Oh,
unreal by a goalkeeper? Accept it, praise them, and accept that 99 times out of 100, you don't have to think what you're doing with the follow up because it's an open goal. And when a keeper gets up and pulls something like that out, you don't need to look about what the other player could have done. You just have to go, amazing, well done. We don't do it when players score goals to that extent, do we? Like, should the keeper have stepped another half inch to his left first? No. If someone puts in a worldie, you just go, you
yeah.
take your hat off to them. So it
Yeah.
should be
They,
the same
they
for
they get it
keepers, just a
harsh,
lot
don't
harder.
they? Yeah. Keepers get it harsh, and listen, I'm glad I've got him. I'm glad I've got him, but like we're saying, we like to talk about the football first. So let's talk about the football before we talk about the FPL. So, Kieran, you're the man behind the curtain tonight. What's the first game that we're going to, or the first fixture that we're going to discuss today?
So that was
Or do you want to
seamless.
go through prediction? We're going to go through our scores.
Oh, do you want to go through our scores first? Okay.
Yeah, I mean they
I
were
don't
pretty
have the
good.
scores up in. Well, look, that's one I didn't add on to here, right? But what I do have is our predictions.
There
So
we go.
I tell you what, you have the results up, okay?
Yeah,
And I will read out our predictions. So I'll read our predictions and then you can say the result, right?
yeah.
Southampton, Man U. I went 1-1, you went 2-0 United.
Oh, I thought it went 3-0. No, absolute redraw. I was close. I'll tell you that though. Yeah, go on then.
Okay. Brighton 3, Ipswich 1. You went Brighton 3, Ipswich nil. We know that was a
Yeah,
nil-nil, right?
that did
Palace
not go well.
Leicester.
No, yeah.
I went 1-1 in that game. You went 1-0 Palace.
Yeah, well, you got that. You got that 2-2. Little Desmond, but 1-1. That's close. I like that.
Cool. Fulham 1, West Ham 2. You went 1-1 draw.
I did, and I did smash that. I did get that 1-1. It was. I'll take that.
Liverpool 3, Forest 0, Liverpool 3, Forest 0. Now, we said, look, we both gone for the same one here. And when we did that the week before, we both got it right. We both got it wrong this time
Liverpool, man.
by a way.
Oh,
We'll
yeah, we'll
come
come
on
on
to
to
that.
that game, but yeah, they had nightmare
Um,
0-0.
City 3, Brentford 0, City 2, Brentford 1.
Shane got that one right as well. I'll tell you that one.
Villa 3, Everton 0, Villa 4, Everton 0.
Yeah, we
Nope,
didn't.
neither.
Yeah, neither.
Bournemouth 2, Chelsea 4, Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 3. A win, but no, neither.
Yeah.
Here we are, Tottenham Arsenal. I'd like to think I'd know a bit about this. Oh, look, Tottenham 0, Arsenal 1, or Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. Oh, there we are. Nice little 1-0. And go
You
back
got
and
that,
listen to
mate.
that episode. The only thing that I missed out on that was it wasn't Raheem the Dream scoring the winner off the bench. It
That
was
would
a
have been
corner.
class.
Should have seen that coming. But Raheem had his chance. He had his chance, and we'll talk about that. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to go
we'll
too
keep
much
that.
at this
Yeah, we'll
point
keep
because
that.
we've got a few games to run through before we jump into this week. Wolves Newcastle. I went 3-0 Newcastle. You went 3-0 Newcastle.
Yeah, that wasn't the
So
best.
yeah, decent. Right, okay. Let's jump into some of those games though, and some of our images for it today. Up first, Shane, we've got Southampton United, the first game. Do you want to talk us through it? I thought it'd be one you'd quite enjoy because you had a feeling about Bruno, didn't you?
I did have a feeling about Bruno, and if again, if you go back on the channel and have a listen to the last pod, I had a feeling there was going to be a penalty and Bruno was going to be involved. There was a penalty, but it wasn't for United, unfortunately, because I think Bruno would have been on it, but it was for Southampton. And it was. I watched the full game. Actually, it was down, and it was. Was that after? It was after Juice. Bloody hell, honestly, I can't remember what I'd done 2 minutes ago. So I went to Juice. We done that. I had a great show, and then me and Sim, we went to watch the game. Actually, went to a nice little pub to
Where
watch
did
the
you
game.
go? Railway Tavern? Bridge Tavern?
Yes, we did.
There
Yes,
we
we
are.
did.
My old hunting
Oh,
ground.
is it?
Yeah, born and raised around there, mate.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's quite a nice little place. However, we did on the way walking there see a live car chase of a guy actually trying to get away from police car. So a
Yeah.
nice place, clearly. No,
What, do you want him to stop?
yeah, very much.
It's not his
Yeah.
car, mate.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, that's a good. You might not be true.
How do you think Ash gets to and from the recording?
Yeah, it might have been Ash actually. Maybe he was running late for juice. Maybe that was why. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a good game. First 10 minutes though, 10-15 minutes, Southampton. I think they were playing fairly well, but United made them look a lot better than what they were. The first 15 minutes for United was atrocious. Fans were getting on top of them, even though it was away, and kind of culminated in the penalty, which obviously they missed. And I don't really understand. Archer was on it. I thought Brereton Diaz would have been on that. No, typically is it?
Well, he was at. It changes, doesn't it, between teams, and they both were
Yeah.
at the same team last time as well. Interestingly,
Yeah, so Archer took it, missed it. It was an okay penalty again, kind of probably flattered Onana, but and after that, really, kind of Southampton started waning in the game. United started getting a foothold in the midfield. It's kind of how I feel the game goes. Again, if you listen to that pub, remember I was saying last week here, that United they always kind of run their luck, and that's what they did do, and they always just seek out a win. In the end, it was a 3-0, but I don't think it was ever a 3-0 kind of on the scores. Yeah, like I was saying, first 50 minutes poor. Dallo, by the way, shocking. Fantastic going forward. Great going forward. Not a defender. Not a defender. Gave away the penalty. Was fairly weak on his side for a lot of Southampton attacks. Like I was saying, though, after that penalty, it changed, completely flopped. And after that, Southampton were a little susceptible. It kind of fitted in with what I was saying last week here, in that Southampton at home, they want to press forward, they want to try and win the game. Funnily enough, they actually swapped the back three to back four. So Russell Martin did actually swap his tactics a little bit, but he still pressed forward, and United caught them on the break each time, really. Bruno, a nice delivery for Delict. Again, I did say, I think in one of our first pods at some point, we'll maybe look at Delict. And yeah, they just counter-attacked really well, and that's the kind of team they are. It suits them. It suits sitting back, soaking up a bit of pressure, being very, very lucky, which they always are, and they always seem to eke out a win, really. Same old story for Southampton. Don't take the chances. Didn't score any. Again at home, and it's not looking good at all for Southampton. Culminated in Stevens getting a red, which at first I was watching the game with Sim, and we thought, oh, red, that's a bit harsh. But I don't know if you've seen it, Kieran. We watched it back, and it was a hideous challenge by Stevens. Did you see it on Garnacho?
Yeah, they're the things that you want to see red cards for, right?
Yeah, yeah. Which the red, I mean, it was quite quick, but yeah, it was. He's high. He's caught him right in the knee, and he has to go, which is stupid. He's played in the Prem before. He knows the crack. He's not helping his team out, and that's kind of how it ended, really. Um, but no, it was good. It was a good watch. I was a bit gutted with Bruno. He only got an assist with 3-0, but no, it was a good game. But same old story, really. Hopefully that reflects in what we've got up here on the board, mate.
Yeah, so look, for me to just sort of quickly, and you highlighted most of the things here, so I didn't really want to sort of click through while you were doing it, but I guess just to kind of talk through this, um, Man United dominated in the key metrics, and I think that's going to be the telling points, right? You can see here that it's not just the XG, it was the expected threat. So actually, the XG was relatively close through the game. So Southampton had a couple of those big chances where they really should have got something.
Yeah,
Um, but throughout the game, it was just that dominance from United, and they created higher quality chances, especially later on in the game. So we can see again here, if you're looking at these charts on that threat, and in particular, it's that sort of bottom, the cumulative expected threat, but we can see how steep that incline is there. In terms of other parts, really to sort of look at here, we're sort of looking at some of the field tilt here, which gives you a bit more insight as to how each of the teams were performing
yeah,
and really how sort of United seemed to kind of dominate and would really move and build quite fluidly. And yeah, I guess just other things that I found quite interesting here are, if we're looking at this, is the areas of possession being lost. So sort of turnovers leading to shots. And again, interestingly, United were losing possession a lot,
they were,
but
especially
Southampton
plus
weren't doing
15.
much with it. And similarly, United were gaining possession a lot, but they weren't taking many shots from it. So it was one of those. I think I'll just go back here as well. I think passing network's always an interesting one as well. I think if you look at the passing network, really here, to the point you said, Dallo and Diallo were both pretty pivotal for United in the build-up. Dallo in particular, he was progressive in the passing and carrying as well. On the Southampton side, though, it was Diallo that was doing the sort of main progressive outlet, but he didn't really have that support to turn the progression into any real threats. So that's why we're seeing them kind of have that gradual, because Diallo was really driving it all. Again, the other point, and I saw Gian posted it on Twitter earlier, but the way Southampton approached it was the way that they're going to approach most games, right? They didn't adjust for playing against another team. Their attitude was, fine, we'll just go at you the way we're going to play any other game, and we'll just see what we can do with it. So, credit to them for doing it, but yeah, they're going to struggle, aren't they? I think they're going to continue to struggle this year if they keep going for it in
Yeah,
every game.
yeah, it's not going to end well for them. I think, like I was saying, it was good. It reflects everything we're doing with the kind of the stats and the eye test. Really, that's what the season's going to be like. And I think they're just going to continue to get battered. It wasn't really a 3-0 game, but just United took the chances, and it's going to be a long, long season for Southampton. I don't see them not being bottom. I have to check my predictions to see if I had them bottom. I think I did. But yeah, it didn't go well for them, mate, unfortunately.
No. Okay. Second game up then that we've got, and obviously we're not doing these in order, but we're kind of going through some of the more interesting games to start with. We've got City versus Brentford. What did you make watching that game? Obviously, exciting start to the game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, fastest goal this season. I think it was 53 seconds, something like that. So it's kind of a set piece from the kickoff these days. But yeah, United were. This is something I kind of said at the start of the season, that United, sorry, not United, City. They are strong. Listen, they're a fantastic team, one of the best teams we've seen in the Premier League. But this season in particular, and the tail end of last season, they are being a little bit sloppy. Like I'm saying, after 58 seconds, Wissa managed to get in, which a poor clearance by John Stones. Edison didn't really cover himself in glory, not at the start of the game anyway, and Wissa nipped in for a header to finish. And I get that kind of helps City. You When you go to the Etihad to go up 1-0, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. Do you know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like, you would like to maybe take a little bit of time, especially Brentford, kind of sit back a little bit and um, defend well, and then take the game from there. But The same with last week as well. You know, they go behind, that helps City. The crowd gets behind them straight away. They go in the attack. You know, if they went on the attack all the time, they score goals all the time. And that kind of helped them within the game, which, in my opinion, made them be a little bit lucky and helped a certain striker. Not that he needs any more help because he's phenomenal. Even before 1-0, sorry, after 1-0, before half time, even Pep said it should have been 2 or 3, and it should have. And Buemo had a chance, maybe should have finished. Again, a bit of panic at the back for City. I don't really know why. Brentford are a good team, but kind of the insecurities within there. It shows that the team's not gelled yet. And this is something that we were saying at the start, that they're a little bit light in certain areas. People are covering certain areas, and it's having an effect on the team. But listen, hey, when you've got Haaland in your team, you know he has one chance, one shot. Yeah, it deflected, but you've got to be in the right position to take the shot, and he did. And it's 1-1. And then City go 2-1 up. Before you know it, the game's completely changed. Even after that, Brentford had a few chances. And they played really, really well, Brentford. They really, really did. I mean, when you go away to the Etihad and you're winning 2-1, go up 1-0, you know, it shows that you are a good side. City in the second half, they had a 10-minute period where, I don't know, they just went rogue. They just thought, I tell you what, we're going to get a few yellows in this and just kind of stamp out Brentford's attack. And within that, Kovacic took out Wissa. I thought it was quite a cynical, horrible foul, to be honest. And what, Wissa's out for 6 weeks, 2 months, which is
Yeah.
going to have a huge effect. It would have been harsh to give him a red, but yeah, it was a bit cynical. But yeah, at the end, mate, really, it's kind of same old story. City need some goals, score some goals, and win the games. But there's definitely a little bit of a worry there for me that they will get caught one game with
Well, it's
Champ
not just
League.
that, right? I think it's a combination of things, and I think you hit the nail on the head. What I really like and why we're starting with these kind of visuals here is
Yeah,
look at Brentford on the left on this on the XG, like instantly bang up there, right? And then as
yeah.
Pep said as well, you can see that continual aspect of it growing, and actually on that expected threat, they didn't have threat when they scored. It was afterwards. And they dominated that threat throughout the game. And I think what's interesting, if you look at it side by side with the passing network, what you can see here is exactly what City were doing. They were passing it around a low block that Brentford set up there. So
Hmm.
City created an XG of 1.63 compared to Brentford's of 0.91. So stronger chance creation, but Brentford had a threat, and that expected threat's pretty significant at 1.46. Um, I'm not sure if I've got the field tilt on here. Let me click through. Yeah, like you can kind of see here as well as like how heavy that field tilt was in City's favour. They completely dominated that territory and really pushed Brentford deep into their own half for large portions of that game. But despite all of that possession and dominance on the ball and the field, Brentford just stayed compact and tight and made these critical defensive actions, and they stayed in the game. And that low block defense, like their defensive height, and it was the first time we'd seen City face it for a while, but it was at like 32.1 meters, which is right on that edge of the penalty box. So Haaland wasn't getting those chances to be in behind or finding space in the gaps or through the channel. He was being restricted to kind of pot shots. And he was getting those, and he got his chances. But again, if we look at it, it was in the final 20, 30 minutes that he should have got a hat-trick, and City should have put the game to bed. Now, they
Yeah.
got away with it, but it was a very interesting game. And something in particular, and I added him on it, but, I didn't. I thought I did. Oh, there he is on the right-hand side. KDB in this game. Like, his passing map, look at all of these passes on the left-hand side of his graph. Like,
Mm.
ridiculous how much he controlled that game. He recorded 53 successful passes. He created an expected threat of 0.63, so he should have got, a return there. Progressed the ball. Savinho was also incredible for them. KDB is now out injured potentially, right? And again, the other concerning thing, maybe from a City perspective, was yesterday they faced an Inter Milan that played a low block,
Yeah, they
and
did.
he didn't get anything.
No.
And they're about to face an Arsenal team who against Spurs, and we'll come on to this game in a bit more detail, but probably worth just sort of touching upon here slightly.
Mhm.
But against Spurs, Arsenal seemed as if we were setting up in preparation for City because
Yeah,
we did not try and win the ball back off of that. We allowed them to keep bringing it. Like Romero was just bringing the ball, bringing the ball, bringing the ball, and we're like, come on then, keep coming, do what you want. Now what
yeah,
are you going to do? And we'll come on to that game in particular, but that is kind of that preparation for what we expect to kind of struggle with Haaland, right? If you give him those spaces, if you play a higher line, then you're allowing him to get in behind. And with the passing that City possess, you can't let them do it. So Brentford did a really good job of it. It's just unfortunate that, as you said, after they scored, City woke up, got 2 quick goals to get back in front of the game. Brentford then just continued to sit deep and kind of created without creating. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the next couple of games.
yeah. Do you not feel that? Listen, City are still strong, but I think with Champions League coming in, the calendar's getting busy. I think they're going to get caught soon. I really do. They were quite lucky there. Brentford went 2 or 3 up. All right, listen, City can go down the other end and score 2, 3, 4, 5. I get that, but when you're 2-0 down already, um, it's harder to win the game, and I think they'll get caught out soon. Maybe even this weekend. Who knows?
Exactly. And look, I think if we kind of look at these games, I think, look, Visser's injury,
Yeah,
if we're looking at it from an FPL perspective, it does put some question marks, but also positives towards Mbumo, right? Like positives, he continues to be even more of a main man that they'll become reliant on. But
yeah,
negatives are Visser offered a lot, and that includes sort of pulling defenders away to create more space for Mbumo. Sade doesn't quite offer the same. He is a bit more pace to get in behind, and we can see
yeah,
faster attacks from Brentford. But it kind of, if you've got Mbumo, yeah, look great still to own him. But it's one of those where I think a few people kind of lining him up, and I think it's a wait and see kind of move. I think Brentford should continue to be reasonably okay. They are a solid, well organised team, and that's what they demonstrated against City. Again, we'd expect a lot of other teams, and we've seen it in City games this season, where bang, you score against them, they get 2 goals, and they're sort of 4 or 5 goals ahead of you, and really punish you. And Brentford didn't allow that.
yeah. But it's a shame. I thought they deserved something from the game, to be honest, Brentford. But what I did think though is he's done a fantastic job there. I remember when Brentford first came up, and you're like, "Oh, Brentford, what the hell are they doing in the Premier League?" Do you know what I mean? Because the name, obviously, some names have got a bit of heritage within the Premier League, and Brentford, you're like, "Oh God, it's quite a small team." He's now made them a team where, they're quite comfortably within the Premier League. You know what I mean? I don't think they've got any danger of going down this year. I think they're pretty set up for the future as well. So, listen, kudos to him for changing the team anyway.
You know what's interesting? I was just going to show you this one again quickly. But if you look at that Steve Entries one, look at City. Doesn't really look like they're running towards the goal itself, does it? When they're entering into the box. No, that's because of that low
Yeah,
block
you're
that
right.
Brentford had there that they kind of then blocked off. But you then compare
Yeah,
that and that space that City leave, and we saw it against Inter Milan. That space is very vulnerable to counter attacks, and they're not going to want to do that against Arsenal.
yeah.
Definitely not. If we sit deep, we will have threats on the break. So yeah, I know you've posted something here from Geddy, so I'll let you talk.
Yeah, Geddy just as you were chatting about, mate. Geddy says, "What's your thoughts on Buemo from week 6 onwards? A must own, or can we go out with him with the Vissa injury now as well?" Like you were saying, Kieran, he's going to be the main guy. He was kind of the main guy anyway. On pens, all right, it hurts it a little bit, but with the good fixtures he's got coming up, I've got him in my team. I think he's a good own. I wouldn't say a must own, but yeah, he'll still accumulate points. I'm just a bit concerned about if Shaddy's going to fill that role, or he might even change the setup a little bit. What do you think, Kieran?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think look, we're in a fortunate situation where we've got a couple of weeks where we can watch and see what happens with the sort of this new setup and how long this is out for. Probably is for a while, right? But we can see if it's Sade, we can see if it's any other potential options, right? But it is worth sort of sitting, assessing, and seeing if he becomes even more involved than he already was.
Yeah, that's it. JC's just put up there thoughts on the Spurs matchup v Brentford. What we'll do, mate, is at the end we'll talk through the matchups, what predictions we're going to see, what we're going to give, see how we see the game going, and then we'll put our predictions in there, mate.
That's it. And we're going to try and rattle through these ones quicker than we normally do.
Yeah.
Just kind of run through it. But look, let's throw it over to you. This was one that we were both way off on, right? We both thought 3-0 Liverpool. It should have been a comfortable win for Liverpool. They don't lose at home.
What is it
How did they?
since? I think since we put someone on the moon, if you believe that. What 67,
Do
68,
you
something like
believe that? I'm pretty
that.
sure someone's been on the moon by now, Shane. I know you might not have.
That was a
Um,
clickbait bit. That was a clickbait bit.
I'm sure you might not have wireless internet, and you've had to tell family members to stay off the phone whilst we record this. But
Ah,
I'm pretty sure by now
yes.
someone has landed on the moon.
Yeah. I was. Yeah, I was quite shocked. I don't think Nuno set up for. He got some plaudits for it. I think he was very, very lucky. He set up not to lose the game, in my opinion. He sat very, very deep. The Forest team sat very deep. When you're away to Liverpool Anfield, there's not really much else you can do apart from that. But they ran the luck. Diaz hit the post after 25 minutes. They hit the post again near half time. They had three, I counted, chances off the line. That's Liverpool had three chances hit off the line by Brentford. It was just one of those games, and that's why we kind of love football at the same time as we hate it, because you think you're going to know a fixture, it's going to be a battering, and Forest come away with a win. Liverpool were a little bit flat though. They were a little bit flat, and at those times, maybe when you look to Diaz or definitely Salah to do something, they weren't really doing too much. Um, I don't know if that was because it was a bit of an international hangover. They all came back I think they came back on like Wednesday night, Thursday morning type sketch. So it's not as if they got back late, but I just think that maybe had a little bit of effect of the team set up at the weekend. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what separates the high quality teams from or the champions from not being the champions. No, it was a good game in the end. I think Liverpool deserved something for it. Nuno ran his luck. I think though Slot got a little bit outmanaged in the second half. Um, he tried to shift some things and have a little bit of the attacking onus. He took off a few players. The Jota at 60 minutes. He's now a bit of a risk. I probably wouldn't go forward with Jota now. It brought in Darwin for a little bit. I thought he'd get quite a few minutes. Um, and he just nothing really happened after that. They had a few off the line, but from set pieces, corners, that kind of thing. Van Dijk had a header. They didn't really do enough to win the game. They didn't force it enough to win the game, especially not at home anyway. And it resulted in a Forest 1-0 win. It was a good finish. It wasn't exceptional. Did you see the finish? I didn't. People were raving about it. I mean, it was a good finish, but I wouldn't say it was. It's no
It, it's all,
McSauce finish, but
look, I think it's one of those where when it's a goalie like Allison,
yeah,
people
fair one, yeah.
people feel, well, if he didn't save it, it must have been great, right? There is almost that assumption. In the same way, there are certain goalkeepers where they let in a goal and they couldn't have done anything, but people are overly critical of them because they're known to make mistakes elsewhere. So I think it is some of those, and it is benefit because Allison is a class goalkeeper. This
He
one,
is, yeah, he is.
this game is kind of, I loved it, right? And again, this was one where a team did set up differently based on who they were playing against, right?
Hmm.
Forest was a classic case of low block counter attacking success, right? And it was well thought out and organised by Nuno. So I've only got these two graphs up here, but I'll kind of talk through a few other things. And again, if you go look at Mark R Stats or Mark's Statspot on Twitter, you'll get all of these images and more as
Yeah.
well. But step one was defensive solidity and resilience, right? So Liverpool had 71.4% possession in the final third, compared to like 28.6 for Forest. So that is that dominance for Liverpool. But despite it, Forest held their ground. The image we do have here, though, is these deep entries. And Liverpool made 16 deep entries, whether it was passes or carries, into that final third, compared to just 5 from Forest. They were under a lot of pressure. And what we often see for teams are you can sustain pressure, but not for that long and that much pressure. And Liverpool were putting it on them. Liverpool had 5 high turnovers, so that's where they regained possession in that final third, but only one of those led to a shot. Forest only had one, didn't really do anything with it. But really, it meant that when Liverpool had these dangerous moments where they won the ball high up in that Forest pitch, Forest were quick to get back behind it and limit, how dangerous they really were. Now, Liverpool also, once they got into the danger zone, they lost the ball 25 times. Forest lost it, a few less times. But really all of that. Forest had an XG of 0.53, and that was back from just these 3 penalty box shots from 5 of these entries. So they used that direct play, that counter attack to capitalise on those chances. They were way more direct with their passing as well. So they bypass the midfield whenever they get that ball. Again, counter attacks. Um, if we look at it once again from an FPL perspective, Trent was that most creative person in that Liverpool team. He led on the expected threat with 0.74, but
Yeah,
again, Forest were just strong defensively. Um, it's just we then saw it in the Champions League, didn't we, mate? Trent then got his assist, and I think we
he
will
did.
see that like he's set for it. I was talking about tearing my team up last week, hilariously. Do you remember I was saying Ramsdale and
Yeah,
Trent in for Gabriel and Raya?
yeah, yeah. You've
Whew.
missed that one. Hey, well, I mean, obviously we'll get into our teams at the end, but
But
I
like, stay
changed.
patient, right? It's one of those. Stay
Yeah,
patient with your players. Give it a second. Don't just jump onto
yeah.
someone because Trent could lose 1-0.
And some people might have captained him, like me. So yeah, that went well. We'll come into teams, which it went well because Salah blanked, but we'll get that at the end. But yeah, that was a Liverpool game, and yeah, they rode the lug. But listen, that's why we love football because things that shouldn't happen always happen, and vice versa. Um,
Nice. Now, look, I will preface because we might have people jumping in at different times, and I said, "Oh, I'm doing these in order." No, look, the orders were the first two were games we were going to talk a bit more about. The rest are kind of in time order now. So
yeah.
I'm not saying Brighton v Ipswich 0-0 was the next most interesting game so far. Although maybe you think it was, Shane. What do you reckon about that game?
No, I don't really. You've you've hit the nail on the head. I don't. I mean, it was a little bit intense. It was okay to watch. But yeah, it wasn't the goal fest that we kind of thought it would be. Listen, the guy that you talked up got a clean sheet though, which is good. Um, but Big Leaf Davis. But yeah, again, I think it was a little bit kind of like the Liverpool game. Brighton did have a lot of chances, and they just couldn't get the ball over the line. Um, there was all this worry about if Gel Pedro was going to start. He came back in time. We tracked his flight. He came back in time. It was fantastic. He was training, brilliant. Didn't play. Didn't play, mate. Didn't play. So Danny Welbeck was the better, the easier pick. And he started and he Reuter started in the 10 instead. Which it seems like he was injured, right? Is that why Reuter started in the end? I thought he might have started him anyway. But has
Yeah,
he got an
no,
injury?
it
I
was
think
good to
he's
see
got
him
an
play.
injury.
Yeah, it's tweak. It sounds as if like he needed rest. He was, yeah, might have picked something up. We'll have to wait and see. But do you know what this game?
It was a bit boring, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't for me. Like I, I played Leif Davis, right? Leif Davis.
I did
I
see
got
that,
got
mate.
my
Yeah,
clean sheet. So again, look, like you
that's
said,
it.
if we're looking at these graphs, Brighton clearly dominated the game. Way higher XG, 1.64 compared to Ipswich's 0.72. More quality chances, didn't convert. On the field tilt side of things, they had 84.7% of field tilt, so they and 69.1% of possession. So territorial control and ball control, but Ipswich were resilient, and it's kind of the theme of some of these games, right? They were able to keep a clean sheet, and it's really what I'd highlight. People made judgments on Ipswich after two games where they faced Liverpool and City. They're not going to face that quality attack every single week. Um, so yeah, they had a deeper defensive line. They soaked up Brighton's attack rather than trying to press them. Van Heck was great for Brighton. He had strong
Yeah,
ball
it was.
progression. He carried it. He passed it effectively. Mitoma and Ayari were pretty good in terms of carrying the ball as well. But Ipswich did kind of neutralise the threats, and Leif didn't push as far forward as he typically does. You know, when we've looked at some of these visuals in the past, Shane, even against City, do you remember we'd have Leif Davis, the number 3, pretty much near the halfway line?
Yeah, yeah, he was
But you
high.
see this? The back four are in a back four line.
I know he's tapered it a bit, isn't he? What's he doing?
McKenna is adjusting. He's accepting that
Yeah,
there's
you
certain
can't.
teams where they can't be as gung ho, particularly away from home. At home, I'd expect them to attack. So in this reverse fixture, I think
Yeah,
Ipswich go for it. But I think what we need to start appreciating is that McKenna is a strong manager who will adapt based on opposition. And despite facing the teams he has faced, they're not bottom of the league. They haven't conceded as many goals as other teams have.
yeah,
They've kept a clean sheet, right? So good work from them so far. Both these teams play midweek. Brighton, interestingly, and again, to go back to the first pod, Do you remember when I was talking about how much I love Hurstler midfielders, Whiffer and Believer, and what they could do? Believer won the ball high up the pitch, took a touch, smashed it into the bottom corner. Stunning goal, worth going to have a little look at. But we're starting to see the Believer and Whiffer impacts, and I think we're going to see it more and more for Brighton
Kieran,
now.
are you now a believer, if you will?
When I saw his face, I was a
Oh yeah,
believer.
I like him. Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? I think that's what gives me hope for Ipswich is McKenna is adapting after those few games. All right, granted they're against probably the hardest opposition you got in the league, if not the hardest in the city. Whereas the alternative, Russell Martin, all right, he changed the back four this weekend, but he didn't really change his style of play. You know, he kept the championship style of play, which it's a huge step up. It's not gonna fly. And Ipswich, all right, it's 0-0. It was a bit boring, but like you're saying, at least they've got a point and they've got a base to work off. And yeah, that'll carry into the next game, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and I'd say the final other thing about it, if we're just looking at this Brighton defence, right, we have Hinshelwood playing, and we had Veltman playing the other side. Now we do have a Stupinian back. Kadioglu played midweek and got a return as well in the cup. So this Brighton team is going to continue to strengthen and become more and more organised. And look, this was one game where I would have loved to go, even though it was a 0-0. But Hurstler versus McKenna,
Yeah.
with kind of the research I'd done into both of those before the season started, would have loved that. I might see if I can find a way up to Ipswich some way somehow to watch the reverse fixture.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they were two youngest managers, weren't they? And quite since the 90s, I think Stuart Pearce. I was listening to Stuart Pearce and ex-Chelsea manager. I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, it was the two youngest managers, and it was good to see. It's good to see the old guard kind of leaving and the new guard coming in, and exciting managers and exciting teams that have come out from it. But yeah, not that good. Next game. Yeah, from a
Next up,
0-0
this one
to a
was a little
2-2.
bit more exciting. Yeah, exactly. We've gone from no goals to 4 goals. Bit more of an exciting game. What can you tell us about what you saw when you were watching it back?
Just a quick say hi to Shane. Shane number 1 in the chat. How are you doing?
Alpha Shane.
Yeah, Alfie Shane. Yeah, Perspective joined us. Who else is in there? Animations.
Good to have you on here, Nathan. Thanks for
Everybody.
jumping in.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Any questions? That just drop them in. And
And
again, we'll
also,
kind of
please
go
do
through.
like and share this because it will help us that we've only got about 20 odd subscribers. So
Yes,
any likes,
please,
anything
man.
like that will definitely help. We've also used probably one of the worst handles for our thing because I think it makes it harder to search for. So anything you guys can do to make it easier to find us is appreciated.
That's it. Yeah. So from a 0-0, kind of bit of a boring 0-0 to a 2-2. Palace Leicester started off with a big party. The Vardy party, who's back in. And he was kind of rolling back the years there. It was good to see the way he kind of nipped in, took the goal. You love seeing it, even though I don't own him. You love seeing it, and that made it 1-0 for Leicester. Palace had a few chances, nothing really. It was more Leicester really the first half. Guehi, it didn't really look the best, I'll be honest. And it kind of takes me back to listen. It was fantastic. Palace kept Guehi, but now I'm thinking in my head, if I was the Palace chairman, I would have probably taken that 70 million and reinvested in the squad. He's still a good player, Guehi, but I know they could have done a lot more with the money. Put in there as well with LaRue. Remember that band, LaRue? LaRue. Again, I don't think he's.
It
I
wasn't
mean,
a
he's only,
band, and that was the worst impression. You were thinking of the song The Kill, right?
yeah, LaRue. That's the band.
Wasn't it
LaRue,
just a
yeah.
person?
It was a lassie, wasn't it? But I think it was a band. Anyway, we
I'm going to
digress.
have a look. Oh, it's a pop duo.
Pop duo. Is it duo? Is it? I thought it was just a lassie.
Yeah. Well, so
Fantastic.
here's the thing, right? Here's why it was a duo. The singer, Ellie Jackson, right?
Oh.
Then never heard of this as a duo in music before. The producer, Ben Langmaid. Listen, Ben, it wasn't a duo, mate. She was a solo singer, and you were just a producer.
Stop hanging
trying to
on.
get on. Yeah, get off those coattails, like
You
I'm doing
weren't
with
good
Shane.
enough.
I'm riding Shane's coattails, and I'm gonna have to let go eventually because he's
Yeah.
not looking at his ranks anymore.
Yeah.
But no, sorry. Yes, back away from being bulletproof and go into
Oh, I
more
love it. Oh, that's
teams
good.
that were
Oh, I love
more
that.
taken. But
Yeah, but so yeah, I didn't really rate him. Again, it's a step up from the league he did play in. But those two together, someone said, "Oh, they'd be fine with Guehi and Larue, at the back." But I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced with Palace at the start. Remember pre-season, we were discussing this. We were saying that Palace, they're going to be one of those teams that we think are going to do well, and they're not going to do well. And luckily, we did call that. I mean, listen, they came back from 2-0 in the end, and 2-2. Mateta got both. The offside, though, I see what Steve Cooper's talking about a little bit. More in the first one than the second one. They drew the line. Did you see the line they drew? But you couldn't see the bottom player.
yeah, but no. Look, as an Arsenal
Hmm.
fan, with someone that's had it proven where they didn't even draw it from the right player, right? The game against Brentford where they drew it from the wrong
Yeah,
player.
remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that they deliberately aren't showing lines as much as possible now, right? Because people can't see all of the angles, they can't see everything because it's not in the direction of what they're then seeing it from. And with how
Yeah.
automated offsides are in particular, I think they're almost certainly definitive. That I don't think you can argue with them now. There will be
Yeah.
cases, but again, I think fine margins, but not that fine. What was interesting in this game though, mate? Like
Hmm.
it turns out that you're not taking penalties off Mateta if Mateta wants to take the penalty, are you?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Although he did come out and say that it's up to them at the time, though. He
Yeah, but
said
if
that
it's up to
since,
them
didn't
at
he?
the time, did you see the two of them? You're
Yeah.
not arguing with Mateta. That's a big boy. He is not. No, look, I think he
Yeah.
will let Eza take one.
Do you
Almost
think?
like, look, I'll let you take the next one. But the key thing was this was the important one, right? This was like one that matters. So if Mateta takes one to draw the game,
Yeah.
then you'd like to. Well, you'd have to expect that he'd also take the one to go ahead in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then, when does Eza get the penalty?
But that's the thing. I don't really like that from a player. Like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I like the team effort, but if I was if I was Eze, I'd be like, nah, I'm taking it. Do you know what I mean? Either the manager sorts out who takes it, or I don't like that on field of, oh, you have this one. You know what I mean? If you were a top striker or a top midfielder, I'd be like, nah, I'm having this one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, look, I think
yeah,
let's just kind of cover this one off as well from some of these visuals here. Palace had higher XG by the end of the game. Leicester scored their second and then kind of just stopped, right? Again, we can kind of see it. We can see the steepness of the expected threat there. Palace kept going, kept creating threat, kept pushing, and inevitably led to them getting that equaliser. Leicester were a lot more efficient with their possession. Leicester were pretty high defensively. Palace were even higher. So both teams played with high lines. La Croix, which is also a very tasty drink brand.
it
I'd
is.
love to be sponsored by them, actually. Oh, I love those. They were great drinks. Gray, he was decent. Eder stood out, but more terms in terms of progression, right? So not necessarily from defensive actions, but from those attacking actions, especially passing. Wharton, most progressive passer out of anyone,
He's not a
which
bad player, Wharton, is he? He's all right.
he's not, but probably not what you want. You know, your CDM being your most progressive passer or your centre midfielder, sometimes. Nketiah was interesting, good ball
Yeah.
carries, didn't really impact Eza's position all right. So he's not going to take away from Eza. I think what's interesting, if we remove the penalty things, was Eza was still class. He was still a really, really exciting player. And we can kind
Yeah.
of see, if we look at these passing networks, the support he's got over on that left hand side, and again, we can kind of draw that. Like, if you look at Nketiah, he's all the way over on that right as a 9. If we look on that left hand side, we've got a super high Mitchell, then we've got Eza, and then we've got next to him Mateta, right? But Mateta deeper. So Mateta is kind of being that hold up player passing it in behind, and he can either go centrally or right towards Nketiah, or all this interchange that Eza's creating on that left, that overload is going to create a lot of space for him in this setup. So again, like, I get what people are saying, and I think Eza's a player that is kind of points dodging at the moment, but it's going to get a double digit haul very, very, very soon.
Yeah, in terms of FPL, do you know what? I wildcarded. I gave him a comment at team. I wildcarded, and I probably FOMO'd Eze in there because he's capable of these. But yeah, I wasn't convinced, and I think I should have went without. He's one of those players that you have to have, like any player. You got to have him at the right time, jump on and off. But in that team currently, just now, I don't. Yeah, I don't really like him in there. But no, it wasn't a bad game. It was a good game to watch actually. A lot better than the 0-0 anyway.
Exactly. All right, cool. Well, look, we're getting a little bit further in here. We're on to Fulham v West Ham.
Yeah, again, that was kind of more in the terms of kind of the Brighton game, really. Ended in a draw, Fulham 1-1. ESR got the assist for Jimenez. You like that pronunciation there, Jimenez? I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but yeah, he chased the ball that looked like it was going out, got to it, just squared it for Jimenez, and it was a good finish. It's good to see him scoring again, actually, after obviously, his injury quite a while ago. It's good to see him back to scoring. And yeah, it was a little bit end to end, fairly attacking. They're both two sides that I
They're
never
both
know how
two sides. They're
they're
both
both
two sides.
come for the analysis to the double pivot pod. Um, they're both two sides in terms of like I don't really know how they're going to do it the weekend. You know what I mean? You can't really rely on either of them. West Ham might have a fantastic. This game could have gone either way. West Ham could have
Hmm.
smashed them 3-0. Fulham could have smashed them 3-0. Could have been 3-3. Could have been 0-0. So you can't really rely on them. But it was good to watch. Fulham at times were really really good to watch. Quite fluid. The way they kind of they kind of transcend from defence to midfield and up to attack is quite good to watch actually. They're playing better football than they did last season. More attractive anyway. Whether that translates into more points, we'll have to see over the season. But it's a good to watch. And then last kind of shot of the game, last chance of the game. West Ham scored. Bowen assistant to the old Danny Ings. I forgot he was still there. He's still lurking. He's lurking for the. Come on, at 89 minutes, he always does it, and he always bang one in.
Most
I expect him
surprising
to kind of move
scorer on the
on, but
weekend, right?
yeah, that's it. Yeah, but yeah, there was plenty of chances throughout. It was quite exciting to watch. A draw was probably quite fair, but you can see from the stats there that,
A draw
yeah,
wasn't
it
fair.
wasn't
A
as
draw
fair.
wasn't fair.
No, it
Like
doesn't seem like that, does it?
Fulham dominated. Fulham outperformed West Ham significantly. XG 2.44 to
Jesus.
0.74. They higher quality chances, but they only scored once. The expected threat, Fulham absolutely dominated in creating opportunities, consistently applied pressure throughout the game, generated way more danger, 1.77 expected threat to 1.01. Now look, West Ham, you can see a slight comeback towards the end of the game, but Fulham were the more threatening side throughout. After scoring a goal, they continued to be the most threatening and create the most chances. Passing network wise, like Fulham's play was this is where it fell down for them. A lot of their passing involved them going back to go forward. So like Bassi
Mm,
and Anderson were way too highly involved, as were Lukic and Pereira. So it was kind of like this middle four square. Like, no, go round, attack a little bit more. Um,
yeah.
Robinson
If
and
that-
Iwobi were pretty crucial though, mate. Right? I think Robinson's one that keep an eye. Will continue to. He's if you're going for a defender, you want yes clean sheet potential, but that attacking threat, and he's got it.
Yeah.
He's got it. Iwobi as well. Like look, the two of them, they connect so well together in that final third. Their interlink's great. Um, West Ham way more focused around Alvarez and Rodriguez when they were building stuff. Heavy reliance on wide plays. Emerson very wide on the left. Bowen didn't really connect as much in the build up with Antonio, and I think that that's kind of an issue with Antonio back in, even though he knows him better. They're changing the style of play compared to when they're playing with Fulkrug.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens for them. Look, overall, Fulham dominated in every area, but they were just wasteful in front of goal. Only scoring once from that kind of XG is just not enough. West Ham stayed resilient defensively, and they snatched a point despite creating far fewer chances. I'm continuing to monitor Bowen though, because the guy's a definition of a talisman. He's going to be more and more involved at West Ham. Even this week against Chelsea, it's a good fixture at home against Chelsea.
Mm.
So that could be an interesting one. Fulham have a tougher fixture at home to Newcastle. But again, Smith Rowe being heavily involved once again. So there's still good picks at Fulham. Concerns over Muniz, him not starting. So
Yeah, he didn't
yeah,
start. Yeah, a lot of people got caught out by that. A lot of people got caught out by the Champ League and Pedro not starting, and he's not starting. It just shows you got to have a bit of a bench. You know what I mean? Don't have a zero bench because you will get caught out, especially now with the Champ League football. But Yeah, Fulham will be fine, but I would just to go back on that. I would rather have Bowen than Eze all day. It's not even a thought for me.
Bowen over Reza? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Better team, right? With better players,
Yeah, they're playing a bit better, and I just think, yeah, he's
better
got no chance
manager.
of more double digit.
No, similar quality manager.
Ah,
They're both
yeah,
good. Glasner and Lopetegui are both good.
he is, but Lopetegui's been getting a little bit of heat off. They don't really see what's different from his team than Moyes' team. A lot of
Well,
fans are kind
but
of
he's not.
talking a
He's
little
not
bit
integrated
about that.
everyone in yet. He's not integrated everyone in yet. Like
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
there's a lot of players. Fulkrug's now got injured, so if you're having to play Antonio and bring Danny Ings on, like this isn't. He wouldn't have ever imagined bringing Danny Ings on, ever.
Danny Ings.
So
I mean, hey, the guy's a legend. He is a legend, but 2012, something like
yeah. Sorry, you keep talking. I've just realised my laptop's dying. So look, we
that.
are
Oh, that's
now
not
on
really.
to Villa v Everton.
Yeah, and again, like these, we've kind of gone over the more important ones.
But
This one was
again, this one's dropped down towards the bottom, but it's a 5 goal thriller.
yeah, it was a great game. I didn't expect Everton to go 2-0 ahead. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe one, not even one. I didn't expect that. Yeah, everyone went 2-0 up, and then Everton basically after that just came back and battered them. Came back and won it 3-2. The first goal, Onana was robbed. I don't think they looked at it. I don't know. It was maybe a 50-50. He could have given it. I don't know. I thought it was a foul, and they should have brought it back. But hey, at the end of the day, they finished it well. McNeil finished it quite well. I know one of your
I was
favourites.
talking about him
Yeah,
beforehand,
you
saying
were. Yeah,
goal and assist for little Dwight McNeil in this game.
it was a good finish. I don't know. I'd maybe look a little bit at Martinez. I don't think his positioning was the best, but all the same, you can't take it away from McNeil. It was a great finish from the edge of the area. Second goal was DCL jumped up like it kind of struck me like a Ronaldo moment. He jumped well high. I was like, Jesus. Maybe he saved up all his energy from the past 3 seasons when he's played about 3 games into that one moment and jumped highest. Villa got caught out, and they get caught out, I think, fairly often with either trying to play the offside trap or even just in the air, just physically. Sometimes they're quite. I expect them to be stronger, especially with Conte in the back. Nevertheless, again, DCL jumped, good flick on header and good finish. Yeah, and then after that, Villa started coming back. Everton had the chance to add more. They didn't. Digne played really well. Played quite high and progressive. You can see, on the pass network. I was talking about Digne, and people were like, "No, he's a trap," and I was like, "Nah, you watch the big boy, Digne. Here he comes." I was a bit unsure, like you were, Kieran. I don't know if he was going to save him for Champ League, but he started him in both actually, and he seems to like him. And it was a good assist. You got to give. There was a good assist, wasn't it, for Watkins?
Sorry, I can't
Oh,
get over how you say his name.
Digne. Dijne. I might change it. Dijne. Yeah, it was a good finish for Watkins. Finally started getting a little bit of form in there. 2-1. At 2-1, DCL had a fantastic chance to make it 3-1. Game's completely different after that. And didn't. Kind of nightmare.
But he didn't.
Um,
He didn't like. It wasn't that good a chance.
well, he was
His
1-1 with the keeper, though.
look where he is when he takes it. And
Yeah,
look,
I mean, he's to
okay,
the side, but
okay. Here's what I'll tell you. Look at the XG chart. Tell me where where that chance is when they're at 2-1 up. Where was it? Out of
yeah.
all the chances, where is it on that?
I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like
It's
a
that tiny little one there. It was a 0.1 XG. You're outside the box. You've got a defender putting pressure against you. He just strikes it incredibly, and he's off by about a degree.
Yeah, I don't know. When
If
he
we
was
look
through, I
here,
thought he was going to finish it.
if you look at it, it's as good as the McGinn goal. Not McGinn. Yeah, McGinn. No, not McGinn.
Oh,
What am
Duran.
I going on about? No. Everton. First goal.
DCL. McNeil. Sorry.
There we are. You see that for the first goal on the XG chart,
Hmm.
right? That because he's outside the box, it's not that much higher than that, right? So and then if you see the one where he actually hits the crossbar, that's the one when it's 3-2, right? Where he could have got the equaliser.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not that high an XG chart if you look at it. Now, if we look at the goals that were scored, the third goal for Villa, not that high in XG. Quite often they're not, right? The goals that go in aren't these massive ones apart from a penalty. But
Yeah.
look, it's one of those games where Everton started off super,
Yeah, they did.
not even quick. They converted super low XG chances. So if we look at this, they're around like 0.5 XG by the time they scored their second goal. Level with Villa, right? Villa had better chances before Everton scored. Villa dominated the expected threat the entire game. Villa dominated possession. And look at this passing network. When like even City didn't have it that high up. It's basically surrounding the 11 like it would normally surround the goalkeeper.
It's so high that it looks
It's
like City,
so
doesn't it?
high.
Jesus.
It's higher than City. Like
Yeah,
it
it
was
is.
constant pressure, especially in that second half. Their possession was built from the back. Tielemans was outstanding. Konsa was great. Despite this high XG, Everton just stayed in the game and they just countered and created these scary threats. And look, Villa's pressure resulted in 5 high turnovers, which all led directly to shots. So you know when we were talking about other teams and they weren't leading, Villa were turning it over, shooting quick. Like Emery ball is just attack, 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 attack. Um, Everton couldn't press them in response. Villa clearly smashed it in just dominance throughout and this passing network. And look, here's the thing that I really, as a Watkins owner, I loved it, right? Because people are going, Watkins is out of form. No, look at the fixtures. Forget everything. Fixtures breed form. We know Watkins is
Yeah.
a good player. That's not even in question. And he came off again early in midweek, 59 minutes, taken off after scoring a goal, and arguably should have had another one that was taken away from him.
Yeah,
Not
he should
taken
have
away,
been.
but as in like he fell on the ball and then it was tapped in by not Morgan Rogers, Jacob Ramsey.
Yeah.
So look, one other thing I will add about this: Morgan Rogers is a player I absolutely love. But I think one thing I'd encourage people just to watch when you're assessing whether or not you keep him in your team from an FPL perspective is his role in a Villa system. And if you just think about it tactically, and again, if you look at his position here, he's kind of this 27 that's almost by himself with not as much of a passing network. Now that's telling because he is carrying that ball, he is creating the threat, he is drawing players away. If he then passes that ball immediately to Watkins, well, Watkins is that next expected threat. So a lot of what Rogers does is he will either carry that ball and continue to go towards goal and create for himself, or he will carry that ball and he will lay it off to someone who then lays it back in for the chance to someone else. So he's not going to be the assister that frequently because that's not his role. His role is either to create space and then get the ball passed over to others to then take advantage of it. When you create space, it is harder to then play it back into Watkins, who people know are in there, right? A couple of players on him, so you need to play it back out, draw one centre back out, and then back into Ollie, and that is going to be a lot of the way they do it. But at the same time, as teams adapt to that and they don't compensate and go to him, he'll drive towards goal and he'll score. So I think that's just something to continue to monitor in the next couple of games about how many attacking returns he's actually going to get
Yeah,
and where they come from.
and you always
Great
get
player.
yeah, you always get players that you think they look fantastic, right? They might be cheap or whatever, and you think, oh, he keeps getting the right position, you know. Oh, he almost got an assist. He almost. How long do you let it go on for, though? You know what I mean? In FPL, you get those players they just kind of keep dodging points. He will get some points, but I don't think, I know he's
But
cheap.
it's not dodging points. It's not that's the key thing.
No,
It's
not
not dodging points. Like,
yeah, not dodging points, but just he gets in the. It's like Muniz this season. Do you know what I mean? He's had quite a lot of shots,
but
good
again,
possessions, but he's
no, but
converted
again, that's
nothing.
different, right? Like, it's not as if Rogers is getting high XAs and high XGs. He's not because that's not his job. He will
Yeah.
have a game or two with some XG or some XA, but there'll be games where he drives through, everyone's watching everyone else, he scores, and then he dominates those games and will haul, right? He has that ability. He is a class player. But in the current system, when Watkins plays, it's very unlikely, unless he does drag away enough players and Watkins is wide open, that he's going to play that. However, in games that Duran plays, those spaces do open up
Mm.
more. So it's also dependent on the player that he's got alongside him and how you then utilise getting that ball into Ollie in the best positions for Ollie Watkins
Do you
and
think
feeding
he's? You think people overrate him because he's cheap, and people need someone very, very cheap to then make their team work.
No,
That's what I think. That's what I
no.
think.
I think he's an absolutely like again. We can compare him to so many other players, and he
Mm,
is an incredible talent, and will be a full England international in no time. Right, he'll get his call up this season,
yeah,
and particularly under Lee Carsley, right, who's just like the perfect manager to embed players like that. It's not about that, and it's not about whether he dodges points. It's that like his role in an England team is very much a focal point, very central, etc. His role in a Villa team is a lot more free reigning and driving the ball and creating havoc. So, like, yes, he kind of gets close to creating assists, but like that's not his dominant thing. His aim, if you watch how he plays, isn't
yeah,
drive, cut back, pass, etc. It's get that ball and just be one of the strongest progressors of it, one of the smartest players, and one that can drag other players out of position. And if we
yeah.
look at Everton in particular, like they are a team that holds typically a strong position time. Look, the final other thing that I just find absolutely hilarious here. What do you reckon is my favourite part of the whole passing network?
Uh, Digny.
Nope.
Hawaii is.
Nope.
um,
Look at Pickford. Pickford,
yeah.
long to Calvert Lewin, long to Calvert Lewin, long to Calvert Lewin.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
good point.
Everton's ball. Long to Calvert Lewin, long to Calvert
This is
Lewin.
what we're saying. This is what we're saying the other day. Like, don't get me wrong. All right, they started well. Yeah, it kind of worked a wee bit, but then after that, there's no play. You can't play like that anymore. Really, there's not much chance or opportunity for that anymore, and it shows they don't. We spoke about this before, and I said, listen, I think Everton are getting relegated, and I don't think it's going to change. Or currently, it's not going to change. I've not seen anything that says to me they're going to change. But just finish up on that Villa. I was close to genuinely getting Duran in, but I did. Obviously, he won't start, right?
He'll start
But
some.
he will start some. And I'd like to see Watkins and Duran. It's slightly different
You
from the
know.
way he plays. Yeah, it's different from the way he plays. He won't, but I would like to see that. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, by the way, that goal, what a goal! What a hit son, in the words of old Andy Gray. I was watching it with a little boy, and it was, yeah, it was an absolute bullet.
That's been
Pickford had
taken out
no
of football,
chance.
right? This is the thing. He won't be doing that in 2 years' time, right? Because this is one of the things that I really don't like about where data's come heavily into football.
Mm.
But that is such a low XG chance that you
Oh,
are
of
being
course it is.
told, do not take that shot. Do not take that shot.
Yeah.
There's a sort of watch along or a clip that I saw on TikTok or something where a guy's like, "Don't shoot, don't!" Right? Because like a Villa fan just like lose because no, right? But we need those because they are the moments, right? We
Oh,
need those
100%.
screamers. And funny enough, didn't they then do one in the very next game in the League Cup? Another screamer.
Yeah, it did, and it shows that obviously he's a good coach. We all know he's a good coach, but he's changed Onana and the kind of player he is at Everton. You know, he was used to protect the back four, and in this bit, he's actually scoring a few goals, which is good. But yeah, Duran, there will be a time at some point where I'm sure people start selecting him. But yeah, for the most part, you can't just now. But good
The
game,
only
still a
warning
good
I
game.
put on Duran is so I was listening to a podcast. It was James Alcott one, and he had Seb
Yeah,
Hutchinson on it. Seb Hutchinson is you'll recognise the name more than the person. You recognise the voice. He is one of the best commentators out there. Does most Sky Sports broadcasts, and they were saying so. And they was going, so what's it like? Where like all the voices they have in their ears. There's so many voices, right? But apparently, when Duran scores, all the producers, everyone there is trying to make a Duran pun. Now, what they don't
oh,
realise is they're making a pun to their demographic and era. Now, you and I will get those through our parents and being sort of tail end, but not even tail end of it, right? Like we were toddlers towards the tail end of Duran's glory days, if that.
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
So we're literally talking our parents' era, which means the vast majority of people that watch football are now younger than us, right? So going, oh, he was hungry like the wolf. So Seb will never make those comments, but you'll hear whoever the commentator is next to him, like Gary Neville or someone, they'll laugh and then they'll go, "Oh, save a prayer for the run," and you're like, oh, "Stop it,
you're
stop it."
like nobody knows. Literally, you most people don't know what you're on about. But no,
No,
it was
exactly. And I just did two puns there, and no one that watches us is going to get those. But yeah, look, that would be my warning to anyone who wants Duran is you need to be ready for all the puns that come your way through it, and probably you're going to want to get used to who their songs are. Who well, you probably know who they are. You'll recognise most of it, but you want your own puns.
yeah, that's it. That's it. No, a good game.
Right.
Next one.
Skip to the next one because we've got two left to go. We've got Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Look, relatively quick one for you to rattle through here, mate, because we've already
Yeah.
hit the hour mark.
Yeah, again, it was okay. I watched it again, my little boy. It was alright. It was a wee bit boring. Um, the kind of troll. He's turned into a little bit of troll, but in Kunku, everyone was like, "Nah, he's done. He's done." Comes off the bench, scores the winner, does really well actually. Holds the defender off for the finish. Kind of weird seeing Sancho in a Chelsea top, right? Really weird. It's like you've started pro clubs on Chelsea, you know what I mean? And you've signed some players that you like, and Sancho's one of them. And it was just written that he had to come on, get the assist, um, which is good to see. I kind of feel like I'm red pill, blue pill, living in a bit of an alternative world. But no, it was a good game. Kepa didn't play for Bournemouth because obviously he's contracted to Chelsea, which was quite weird because at one time, or is he still the most expensive keeper ever? Is he still? I think he is.
I don't think it. Didn't
75
Chelsea beat it?
for who would they have bought then? No, it would have been Allison. No,
No,
no, he was already
Allison
gone.
was before then.
No, I think he's still the most expensive keeper. No, he's at
He probably was.
78
Yeah,
or
he probably
something.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I think he was
it's quite
71.
weird. It's quite weird to see him at Bournemouth. I kind of like Bournemouth. It's kind of like small, like a lot of Scottish stadiums, because you know what I mean. Not many people, as many people watch it. I think it's harder for bigger teams to go down there. It's a bit of a cauldron. I didn't realize it was that small. Actually, it's only what 17, 18,000 something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. But anyway, yeah, they find it difficult. Bigger teams find it difficult to play there, and they did find it fairly difficult. But again, you can see from the stats there that, yeah, they deserve to win really. At the end, Bournemouth done well. They're quite an indifferent team. Of I think a lot of their home performances completely different from their away, as most teams are. But they're kind of chalk and cheese. Um, and yeah, they played really well, but they got nothing out of the game, unfortunately. And yeah, it was fairly boring. That was about it, really,
What?
mate. Oh, there
You
was a lot of yellow cards. That's a fact. I
for
think there was one or
record.
two. I think there was one or two, if I remember. One
Yeah.
or two. Yeah, I think I've seen one, two,
Who
three,
weren't booked?
four.
That weren't
Huh?
booked. One or two that weren't booked.
Oh yeah, that weren't, but yeah, but yeah, like you're saying, it was a new record. 14 yellows.
You actually
Uh,
threw me into a bit of a. By the way, I think part of that, and I can't help but think like, but it's an overreaction by certain refs now to the backlash on Rice's second yellow.
oh, okay. What? So when you kick the ball away, type sketch.
Yeah, so I think now they're going. No, look, see, we book everyone. See, you get it. See, no, we're like on any and I'm telling you, for televised games, watch the yellow card counts, right? They don't care about the ones that aren't televised. But I reckon in televised games, they're being told err on the side of booking, not err on the side of literally err on
Caution.
the side
Well,
of
caution is, I
cautioning.
suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sent me into a bit of a dive there when I was looking to see if he was still the most expensive keeper, right? What I think is quite interesting is the keepers that are next in line, right? So Allison cost 56 mil. Onana cost 43.8 million.
That's outrageous.
Edison 34.7 million. Bargain, right? Well, no,
Edison
actually, Edison's not as good
34.
as Allison, right?
Oh, but he's good
Buffon,
though.
Buffon 32.6 mil. But that was 2001, right?
Yeah, that's
Mental,
huge. Yeah, that is mad.
mental fee. Courtois 31.4 million to Madrid. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Played good
So
midweek actually.
Chelsea sold Courtois for 31.4 and then bought Kepa and then gave him to Bournemouth. Jasper Cillessen back in 2019 didn't really do it for Barcelona, but he was
Oh
31.4
yeah,
million.
yeah, it was a boss. Yeah,
David Raya 27 million, worth it.
yeah.
But here we go. Are you ready for this? 2017, and I had to stop and I fact checked it, and actually, it's more now. By the way,
Go on,
England's number one,
Jordan Pickford.
Jordan Pickford, 2017 from Sunderland, 25 million rose to 30.
Jesus. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
So,
I mean, he's England number one, but yeah, that's from Sunderland as well. That fee's mental.
and back then as well. Do I have anything to add on this one? Let me have a quick scan through. 1-0 no real clear-cut chances for either team for a lot of the game. XG is pretty close, 1.7 for Bournemouth and 1.05 for Chelsea. So Bournemouth had more of the expected threat. It was also neck and neck on the XG, neck and neck on expected threat. Chelsea had more possession and controlled it. Bournemouth had it was about even field tilt. Chelsea were better at build up, good strong completion rate, 85%. Bournemouth were more direct with their passing. Game could have gone either way, right? I think that's the key thing here. Again,
Yeah,
Bournemouth were good at turning the ball over high, and this is something I'm going to skip ahead on this, right?
yeah,
This is something that I was reading, and again, like I'll direct people just go directly to at Mark R Stats to read his example of this. Um, but just to kind of skip ahead a couple of slides here. High press efficiency. So Bournemouth's opponents lose possession in the danger zone. Shane's just typing and responding to Geddy, I think. But yeah,
cool.
if we look at this chart here, Bournemouth's opponents lose possession in the danger zone on average 32 times per game and complete 78% of their pass attempts after 4 game weeks. So Bournemouth's
Yeah,
press is the most effective at disrupting build-ups, right?
yeah,
And we saw that in that Chelsea game. Chelsea often lost possession in key areas. They lost possession 18 times. No, sorry, they lost possession 39 times, and 11 of those led to shots. So, yeah, like keep an eye on that. Now, the thing that I was saying earlier about Arsenal aren't pressing as much, look, do you see, we're sort of right in that middle there,
yeah, yeah.
right in the middle, and we're just yep, fine, whatever. But again, Bournemouth high for possession lost and low for possession completed by opposition. Look, final one we've got here, and I'll kind of lead on this one if that's all right, mate. But
Of course it is. Of course it is your teammate. Of course it is.
look, this game played out pretty much how I expected it to, and I'm going to try. I'll talk more from the eye test thing, but what I was really impressed with is we know how good Arsenal can be attacking wise, but what we saw here, and we saw this in both games last season v City, but if Arteta sets up a team to defend and not concede, they will not concede. So Arsenal's victory over Spurs, it was just like tactical masterclass, right? Orchestrated through disciplined defending, smart positioning, and effective attacking patterns, despite Tottenham having domination of possession and of field tilt. And that's what it all came down to. Like, we knew couldn't really compete in that midfield area and go toe to toe for them. So let them have it and drop the midfield deeper. Now what are you going to do? Now you've got to get past us still. Like, you've already got
Yeah,
the ball. You're not battling enough for it. You have it. Kai
yeah,
was incredibly impressive, right? Like Kai Havertz was so good at just winning the ball in important areas. And every time he challenges for that ball, and whilst we might not have won most of the second balls, what it did was it just disrupted any flow Spurs were able to create, and he was just physical and pushing them. What shocked me was Spurs had a good chance at the start, like not in terms of physical chances, but Saliba did one of the dumbest things you can do after seeing Declan Rice get sent off for kicking the ball away. He picks the ball up and starts
Oh,
walking away with it.
yeah, he did. Yeah,
Early
yeah,
on in
yeah.
the game, bang, booking.
Yeah, I
Now,
remember that.
Solanke was bullying him. Solanke was physical and winning the physical battle. But then Spurs stopped playing the ball up towards Solanke in physical battles. When, look, Saliba's a sensible guy and one of the top pros in his position. But if he's booked early on, keep turning him, keep turning him. He might clip
Yeah,
you. He might clip you. But they stopped doing that, and that was the key thing. Like Arsenal just sat further and further deep, restricted all of those kind of opportunities. Spurs would get the ball, pass it around the box, recycle it, do nothing, not really enter the final third. Arsenal always a threat from set pieces. Smart play. I actually thought Romero was fantastic for Spurs, and Romero's a great player with the ball in front of him. Like he was just stopping all of our counters, but naivety from him, right? Like gentle push in the back from Gabriel, but a push, and he could have gone down. I think, and I don't know what your views are on this, mate, but like I watch American football,
mm,
and there is pass interferer on both offense and defense, right? The definition of it though is you need to have your arms extended
yeah,
and there to be separation. Now, if we introduce that into the Prem, because if your arms are bent, you can push someone, but you're not pushing them until they extend, right? So it would allow us to do all of that sort of hand on the shoulder thing as long as your arms are bent. So I think that would kind of clear things up a little bit more because then if you do see clear separation, arms extended, then it's an easy overrule the goal or give a foul or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I seen it. It was like a slight push. I don't think it was enough for a foul. But I'm quite annoyed at ourselves because I've got like a massive matrix, the matrix of every single game week. I'll put down how goals are conceded or either scored. And Spurs since game week 1, they've conceded in the air, even against Leicester. You know, the cross to Vardy. That's how they scored. So like you said, it was kind of written that Spurs would concede by a cross, and they did. Big Gabriel Rose, they scored 4 goals last season. It was kind of written there for everyone to see, and it kind of missed it, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, I think there was two big things. Spurs ran out a little bit of ideas, like you saying they had the ball, they didn't do much, and in their centre midfield, if Basuma doesn't play, I think there's a gaping amount of quality that's just missing from there. You know what I mean? Basuma, right? Again, depends how he plays on the day, but he is a good player. If not, they don't really have anyone to come in. Do you know what I mean? Who comes in for them, and what do they do with it? Not much, it seems.
No.
But yeah,
Cool.
it was a well deserved win by Arsenal. I was happy for you, mate. I was happy for you.
Perfect. Well, look, we've already gone through this one, and look, I think we'll just keep going here. I think, look, shall we rattle through how we see these games going, what our predictions are, and then share our teams? I'll make notes
Yeah, let's
again,
do
mate,
it.
as we go
Let's do
through
it.
it.
Do you know what I did do? Do you know what I did like, Kieran? Is the 8 o'clock game on a Saturday. They need to do that more, Big fan of that. Don't do that enough. That's my input. It's got you flabbergasted.
Sorry, I was just responding to a message from someone. What were you going to put down? Sorry.
I was saying the 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. I'm a big fan of that. Obviously, there was a game at 5:30, and there was a game at 8 as well. But I think they should do the one at 8 more often as well. I think I like that. You know what I mean? Even to go to that game would have been good as well.
No, exactly. All right. Do you want
Here
to
we go.
share your score, your prediction then, mate? What do you reckon? West Ham Chelsea. How do you see this game going?
Ooh, I see goals, even though it's an early kickoff. You know what I mean? We always worry about the early kickoff. I see goals in this. I see West Ham playing better than what they've played. Again, like you're saying, sometimes you don't know how they're going to play in terms of they're going to be crap or are they going to be really good. I see it goals galore, and I see a it's a difficult one. I see Chelsea coming away with a win still, and I see it being 3-2 Chelsea. Is what I see. Maybe a bit out there, a bit left field, but that's what I'm going for. I'll write that down.
You went 3-2 Chelsea, did you?
3-2, mate. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good start to the weekend. I hope so, anyway. What about yourself, mate? What are you feeling? A
So
bit
look,
more conservative.
I have a couple of well, I have a player in this in Palmer, right?
I think he's going to bang, mate. What's his? I think Geddy, Shane number 1 was saying in the chat he's got Palmer. I think he bangs this weekend, mate. I think Bowen comes in as well.
I'm going to go with a Desmond for this game. A little cheeky 2-2.
Oh, a little 2-2. I like it. I like it. Right, first 3 o'clock kickoff then. Villa Wolves.
All right, I should go first on this one, shouldn't I? Look,
Go on, mate.
it's a derby, right? It's a derby, and anything can happen in
Oh,
those.
it is, yeah.
Anything can happen in those. Wolves have been pretty open still and continue, but I think they will get a goal in this game. I think people that have Villa defenders will continue to be punished for their naivety. So,
Yeah.
look, I think it'll be a Villa win, but I do think Wolves get a goal in it, so I'm going to go with 3-1 to Villa, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean about concede the goal, but I think that huge Champions League result midweek, which was huge, by the way, I
They
didn't.
battered them.
They did batter him, and I didn't expect that. I felt he's a good manager, but he's more, he's not Champions League. He's more UEFA.
But that's because he used to win UEFA, then get into the Champions League, finish third so he could win UEFA. Now if
That's it.
if you don't get out, you're out. There is no
Yeah,
UEFA. Well,
yeah,
there is,
which is
but they're not in it.
yeah. Like you say, Shane saying concert owner here. I've got him as well, and I'm going to play him. And the reason I play him is I see that continuing into the weekend. Do you know what I mean? The furore around the fans, and I think Villa win this 2-0. I think they get a clean sheet.
2-0. Cool.
Yeah, I
All
think they
right.
do. I think they're
Perfect.
boiled. Next one, Fulham Newcastle at Craven Cottage. It's quite a tough one to call. Newcastle haven't been as good as what we think they have been, especially away from home. Um, Gordon's more of a home player as well for Newcastle, but the big Harvey Barnes will probably be starting. So I see a Newcastle win. I see them starting to gel together now. I still see Fulham put up a fight, but I think at the back they're still susceptible. And I think it'll go 3-1 Newcastle. What about yourself, Kieran?
I think Fulham are so strong defensively at home, and we kind of saw it in the last game against West Ham, right? West Ham didn't really create much, and it took till the last minute when Fulham kind of switched off. I'm not really excited by like one-eyed, one-toed Isak at the moment. Um, Barnes, I like to see Barnes playing a little bit more, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I think he offers a lot of threat there. It kind of impacts Gordon. We're going to get a dilemma of Gordon away from home. Kind of, is he good? Is he not? I think this game's going to be a lot tighter. I'm actually going to go with a 1-1 draw for it, mate.
Do you think Isaac plays? I don't think he does.
But if he doesn't, who plays up there?
Is Wilson fit? He's back, isn't he? He's fit.
Is he?
Yeah. Well, he ripped his pec muscle. I think he was doing. I think he was doing too much weight in the gym. I'm pretty sure he's back, and this is one that they probably wheel him out for. Because if Isaac came off at half time the other day, it must have been bad enough. You know what I mean? To come off at half time, I can't see him starting this weekend.
Dodgy toe, mate.
Yeah, the big toe, the big one toe. Yeah, I see Newcastle just having a bit too much quality in 3-1. But you've gone. What have you got? One. What did you say there? 1-1.
Yeah, I've gone 1-1.
1-1. Next game actually interests me a lot. Even though on the forefront it looks crap because it's Leicester City v Everton.
By the way, Shane said it's Isak's birthday on Saturday.
Oh, is it?
So maybe a birthday goal.
Oh, maybe, or maybe he's trying to take it off. Maybe he goes out the night before and he's hanging out. Um, Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this one. Maybe the most of the 3 o'clock kickoffs because this is a huge game. It's big for Leicester, but it's even bigger for Everton because if Everton lose this, they're in even more trouble than what people thought.
Hmm.
Although we thought this at the start of the season, Kieran. That's why I said I think they get relegated, and I think Leicester win this. I think they do win this, and I think they win this 2-1. Jamie Vardy winner.
Fair enough. Do you know what? I'm going to go the same as you on that one because yeah, look, I don't
Mm,
back Everton to not concede. I don't back them to score multiple goals in any game. I know they have for the last two, but I just don't back them to. And I think almost Deitch will be like, don't start as fast this time, save
yeah,
your energy, which isn't a good thing. Look, Liverpool Bournemouth, right? Liverpool Bournemouth. Salah loves Bournemouth. He loves them. 9 goals, I
does,
think,
mate.
in 9 games plus an assist. I think he's just going to dominate it. So I'm gonna go 5-1 Liverpool. I think look, Bournemouth are a good team, but I do think that they can show signs of getting like shell shock during a game, and I think Liverpool will just go at them. I think they look good against Milan. They came back from a goal down, so I think they will just
They did,
drive.
yeah.
Maybe they won't concede, but I can see them just conceding a goal at one point during the game. So yeah, I'm going big, but I'll go Liverpool 5-1. My cat is screaming at me, so I'm gonna
Five
let him
one.
in.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm gonna let my cat into the room. I'll mute myself for a second while he screams, but he might
Go on,
come
I'll
and
do
say
it.
hi.
I'll chat, mate. I'll chat. He's gone 5-1. In the chat, what do you think as well? Be good to see what you think for this one. Shane, Geddy, animations. Let us know what you think. Yeah, listen, I think midweek it clicked a little bit. They beat Milan 3-1. I thought that could have been a slippery, hard game for them, but no, they came through it. They went one down, came back. Yeah, they had two centre defenders scoring a goal, but they came back and they won 3-1 quite comfortably. I'm with you on this one, mate. I think they dominate throughout. Bournemouth are a completely different team when they go away from home. The way they set up everything. I think this is quite big. I think it finishes 3-0. I can't see Liverpool conceding 2 home games on the bounce though, and I go 3-0. Hopefully,
Okay.
anyway, because I'm a man with double Liverpool defence, and that Forest goal the other day didn't go down well for me. Do you know what I actually started doing? At 55 minutes, I turned it off because I could sense genuinely. I had Trent captain as well, and Robertson, and I could sense a goal. And when I looked at the app after, I put my hand over, and then I seen Liverpool nil. I was like, oh, must finish as 0-0, 1-0 in the Forest, and I was like, nightmare. But yeah, 3-0. Geddy's with me on that 3-0. Happy with that. And Shane's gone 3-1, so it's kind of the same as you, Kieran. But as a Sal owner, I hope he gets 5.
Nice. We have an extra host with us now because it's past his food time, so he's been shouting at me through behind the door. So instead, he's going to sit on the lap and join us. Southampton v Ipswich. I might as well ask him what the score's going to be, right? What do you reckon? Do you reckon it'll be a good game? He doesn't have much to say about it, and
that's probably why it's not going to be the best game.
oh, actually, it's you first, isn't it? Because I fired out a 5-1. So yeah, you tell us what you see in the game.
I see Ipswich going for this. I see them thinking that's 3 points that they can easily achieve. I think they go for this. Big Leaf Davis plays high, a little bit caution to the wind. And again, I see an Ipswich win. It's a 9-pointer already, and we're 5 games into the season.
A 9-pointer.
A 9-pointer, yeah. I think Ipswich win this. I think Southampton do score because maybe Ipswich are trying to push forward a little bit too much, and they are due a goal at home. I think it finishes 3-1 Ipswich. I think Southampton try and push for the equaliser, and they get caught in the break, and 3-1 Ipswich. What about yourself?
So this is kind of an interesting one, right? Because this is teams. Sorry, he's got the cable with him now. These are teams that literally played against each other last season twice.
Got a bit of fun.
And Ipswich won both. They won 3-2 at home, and they won 1-0 away.
Okay.
So it will definitely be an interesting one. Look, in terms of goal scorers, in that away one, Amari Hutchinson scored with Connor Chaplin assisting. At home in the 3-2 game, Leif Davis scored the first goal. Shay Adams equalised. Adam Armstrong gave Southampton the lead. Broadhead equalised, and Sarah Mento got the winner off of a Leif Davis assist. So that is a couple of Leif Davis returns in a game. I'm hoping he does the same again here. And I'm going to be a little bit more confident than you, and I'm going to go with a 2-0 to the Tractor Boys.
Oh, a little 2-0. Can I just say, by the way, while we're on this subject, whoever thought Adam Armstrong was ever a good choice in FBL should be ashamed of yourself because he can't even get a starting spot anymore. I do like the Ross Stewart though. He came on against United. Really tall guy. Scottish, so obviously he's going to be a world beater. But yeah, he offered more than what Armstrong and others have did. So 4.5, keep a wee eye. Even if he's in your team and doesn't come on, and fair one. Shane's put in the chat, I've got Greaves for sub over Semenyo and Robinson. Thoughts? I think that's bang on. What do you think, Kieran? I think there's more chance of points anyway than the other two.
It's the attacking threat thing, right? You want to go with people that have that attacking threat from a defensive standpoint rather than just rely on clean sheets.
So what'd you go? You went 2-0 there, didn't you? 2-0.
Yeah.
Again, Southampton. Done. One of not your favourite teams, Tottenham, Brentford. Look, what bit of a wee derby there, is it?
Mate,
take your Arsenal hat off. What do you think?
I always get it right on my second go, mate. Not sometimes, always, mate. I'll get it right.
How do you see this one going? It's quite a tough one, right?
Yeah, depends how Brentford approach this game. Frank is a smart manager. Spurs are porous. They got a last-minute winner in the League Cup, which it'll give them confidence.
Yeah.
It will give them confidence. I think they get the same here. I think they go back-to-back last-minute winners, and I think it's going to be like a pretty nasty game. But I'm going to go 3-2 to Spurs.
3-2 to Spurs. Wowzer. Yeah, I mean they are at home. I think, like I put in the chat, I've put that in the chat for a reason. Geddy saying a Brentford win, Big Ange sacked. I don't think he'll get sacked even if he loses, but the honeymoon period's definitely over. It is, and I rate Ange. He was good at Celtic, and you can play the same way every single game, especially got a team like Celtic. You can't do that in the Premier League, and that's kind of the way he plays. And I think it's going to go down a little bit. Brentford, listen, it's a big loss with Visser missing, but I think Brentford grind out a draw. I think they go ahead, and I think Tottenham probably peg them back near the end, and I go 1-1. 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw, okay.
And then the last one, again, another nice little 5:30 kickoff. I'm a big fan of these late kickoffs. Palace United, Selhurst. You went first on Tottenham, didn't you? So I have to go first on Palace United. This is a big test for both in terms of United beat Southampton 3-0. Yeah, brilliant. Anyone could beat them. Same with Palace. A lot was thought of them this season. This is a big test for them this weekend, and it's a test that I don't think they're going to come through well. I think United are going to actually play well this game throughout. They won't really need any lucky things like they did last week where they didn't score a penalty. Sorry, they didn't concede a penalty. United won 7-0 during the week, was it? 7-0?
Hmm.
Although one thing that did offend my eyes is Anthony's on penalties. And I actually posted that on X. I said, the fact Anthony's on penalties offends my eyes. I can't believe that. I think they just probably felt sorry for him and thought, we'll give him a goal. But yeah, Rashford's up there now. He's firing a little bit. And I actually see United winning this. I think Bruno clicks a little bit in here, and I see it being, I go 2-1 United. Close game, but a 2-1 United. Wonder what Geddy thinks. Geddy thinks 3-1 Rashford brace. Not bad show. What do you think, Kieran?
I don't. There's no way Rashford should even be playing, if we're honest.
What for Garnacho? Yeah, I mean, I hope he starts Garnacho. I like Garnacho.
Yeah.
He's actually alright.
Just give it
But yeah,
Garnacho and Diallo, man. Just put it exciting. Garnacho, Diallo,
yeah,
Bruno, Højlund. Like Rashford doesn't deserve to start with how he's playing at the moment. Palace just aren't good enough. Eza should get a lot of opportunity though against United because they will
yeah.
give him a lot of space, a lot of time, and like again, they're not that good defensively. They're not that organised. So yeah, I do fancy goals. I'm going with another Desmond. Another
Another
Desmond.
2-2. I like that.
Another
I like
Desmond.
that.
All right, Brighton
Yeah.
Forest. Brighton
Sunday.
Forest.
Sunday's different dynamics.
Yeah, so Sunday games. Look, I like Brighton, and after not scoring and then scoring in the League Cup with a heavily rotated side, right? It'll be interesting to see what they do because Minter was featured in the game
Mm.
in the League Cup. So whether or not they give a start to Dingra, he's earned it. I still like either again, if you own Minter, you love him coming off the bench and say where Dingra is super threatening whenever he's come off the bench. You prefer someone having more minutes, right? But I do think the most critical minutes, particularly in games like this, are the final 30 minutes. Tired legs. So someone like Minter, and again, that ability that Brighton have of bringing on like for like, so you've just been run at, and you're replaced by someone who's just going to run at you. So either way, I like him. It'll be interesting. Evan Ferguson being back, it'll be interesting to see how he's
Seen that.
integrated in.
Yeah.
Ritter playing. Again, there's a lot of players. I think Kadiyoglu plays in this game, and I think when he does, it'll be great. I really like Forest defence, though. I think they've got cracking players in there. And I wasn't too sure about where Aina would play, to be honest, at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Or not necessarily Aina. I think I really like him as a defender, but my concern when I was looking at Forest was in their team when you actually sort of look at who they've got and how good the defenders were. They've obviously got Alex Moreno now, who is class. So this back four now of Alex Moreno, Murillo, Milenkovic, and Ola Aina are super good combined. So I think it will be down that right hand side. So obviously more so on the Dingra and the Minter side. Because I think Aina will do a good job against Misma. But I do think Brighton will have a little bit too much. I think it will be an end-to-end game, and I think Brighton probably nick it with those late subs, 2-1.
2-1 Brighton.
Yeah.
2-1 Brighton,
quick one, Zodiac's off to bed, as it's...
thanks for coming in, Zodiac, mate. Top man. Thank you.
1 hour ahead of us. So yeah,
that's commitment, Kieran. That's commitment. You know what I mean? He's about to go to bed.
Yeah,
I'll drop in.
Thank
Thank you, mate.
Soon. So yeah, no, I appreciate you jumping in.
You, mate. OG. Just to go back on, Shane said Vissa would have come in for game week 6. Now I'm debating options like Xerxes and Wood. Do not do, especially not Xerxes, mate. Don't rate him.
Wood, I'm still open to, but again, you've got time to keep assessing. What I'd say is, continue to stay open during this period and continue to assess players as they come up, right? Because there will be other assets that come up. By game week 6, you might be tempted to move into even a Havertz at that point. find money elsewhere, or you might want to reposition things, downgrade other players. So a lot's going to change. We also have
Yeah.
more international breaks coming up. So yeah, just like monitor. These are my favourite times. Are just having ideas for moves, but not a necessity to make them yet, where you can actually just analyze players and see how much you actually want them.
Yeah, Zuxi, I think people brought him in. He went up 0.1, which was insane because he scored that last minute winner. He came on for literally about 30 seconds and scored, but no, I wouldn't say that. And if he did, maybe would. But like Kieran's saying, just wait and see what you want to do maybe in the future. Do you know what I mean? Or even just roll the transfer. You know what I mean? Or I'd even maybe go down to 4.5. Anyway, for me, Brighton Forest, I actually think it's going to be quite a good reaction from Brighton. They played well anyway, even though they drew 0-0. And I think people will think Forest will play better this weekend, and I don't think they will because they obviously got result against Liverpool. I see it being fairly a bit of a battering by Brighton. Do you know what, I'm going to go 3-0. I thought they got 3-0. They would have got 3-0 last week. They didn't, and I think they're going to do it again this week. So go 3-0 Brighton. I think it's a good masterclass by Hurtzler again. And then in the last one, it's a little bit of a game, isn't it?
You've got a lead on this one.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll go first. Give you time to think about it. It's difficult. If it's at the Emirates, I'm not fairly confident, but I'd probably go with an Arsenal win. The fact that obviously it's at the Etihad is a different dynamic. But I've been saying for a few weeks now, City have been very, very lucky not to be caught out. And I think this is the weekend where they get caught out. And I'm going 2-1 Arsenal win. Obviously that'll help. That'll be all for Kieran. But I just think it's just hanging on me a little bit that they've been very susceptible at the back. And I think Arsenal, the way they've been playing, the defence as well, I think they have a masterclass of a game. The only I'm worried about is maybe a little bit your midfield. There's a certain individual played pretty poor for Arsenal tonight. I think he gave away the penalty. I'd be worried if he plays. But yeah, I think you do it. I think you turn the screw. I think you beat City. I kind of hope you do actually. So I'm going to go. I'm going for it. I'm going 2-1 Arsenal.
Cool.
Happy with that, Kieran?
It's fine, but like, why would they score against us? That's mad. How are they?
I thought you were going to go like, oh, it's going to be close, but we might get a draw. But you've gone. Why would they score?
Why would they score against us? No, I'm not saying that we'll necessarily score against them, but like, Haaland's not going to get the kind of spaces. Like, to me, the player that I'm most worried about in this game will be like KDB. If KDB's out injured, then Foden is scary, right?
Yeah, do you know what I feel? I feel in the game, I feel you go up 2-0, and I feel you lose a goal near the end. Hopefully it's not Haaland. But yeah, I think you keep it out, you shut it out. That's why I think you concede. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah. So I disagree. It'll be 2-0. It'll be 2-0.
Oh, even more confident. I love that. Oh, I'm a big fan of that. 2-0. So we've both got an Arsenal win as well. Away from home. Oh, this is strong. I like this. Cool. And I think that's is there any on Monday? No, that's it, no?
No, that is it. 8. All right, look, let's Shane, again, we've gone way over an hour and 30. So look, let's rattle through our teams quickly. We're not
reducing it.
We are not.
We're reducing it.
It's just I have to translate half the stuff you say for the audience before we continue. Look, I guess we'll kick off with my team on the left-hand side. I know how dark mode works, so I've got a nice team here in dark mode. And cool. So look, just talking through it, my team's not going to have any moves this week. I made a move last week where I bought Salah in, and obviously he didn't do anything. I captained him, didn't do anything. But look, you can see the rest of my players I've got, and they all did their job. We're still in semi-life support on the bench with Barco and Kwanzaa and Liz. But Muniz, fine. Look, he's fine on that bench there. If Isak doesn't play, Muniz hopefully comes on, gets minutes. If Minter doesn't start, I'm not overly fussed because I'm just happy having Watkins, Salah, Palmer, Yossa for this game. Not ideal having Gabriel, Gvardiol, Raya, but you keep them, right? Because you just take your 1 or 2 pointers. But again, it's where this attacking threat comes into it too. And Raya has been getting saves, and if Arsenal do keep another clean sheet, then you probably expect him to get a fair few bonus points. Like, he's already got, I think, 9 bonus points so far.
Yeah.
3 clean sheets, 1 goal conceded, and a cracking game today. So, yeah, look, Salah is 99.9% sure going to be my captain. I don't love having Brereton, Diaz, and Davis, but I'm looking to wildcard in 7. So again, I think transfer and rolling those and having transfers to come out of the back end of the wildcard is just more important than a move. And again, I think last week taught me patience is important because not making that unnecessary move to find a way of getting Trent in gained me significant points, and I would have been kicking myself. So I'd rather just remain patient, and I think I've definitely learned a lesson there. What about yourself, mate? How's the team looking? I see you're a big Bang Theory this week. It looks with Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah, so last week wasn't the best. I think most people didn't have good game weeks last week. Watkins squared my way a little bit. Could have been a little bit more, but hey, when he bangs in a 13 pointer, I can't really complain. When I only had a few games left, Raya got me a 9 pointer as well, so it kind of saved the game week. Even though it was under the average, if you were in and there about, it wasn't that bad. The biggest thing that kind of hurt me was Alexander Arnold captain. That I called it right. Salah found it hard to get into the game, blanked, and in the end, Alexander, who got carded as well, ended up with less than Salah captainer. So that's something in my game I have to improve a little bit. But it was a bit unlucky because Alexander Arnold, like you saying, during the week he got an assist. He could have got an assist at the weekend, and you wouldn't think Liverpool conceded. So got to go again. Double Liverpool defence. I'm fairly confident. I think they'll keep a clean sheet. Captain say I'll probably move it to Salah, but I could keep it on Trent because he is kind of motoring along a little bit. Raya, I'm happy. Obviously, you keep him throughout the hard fixtures. We both think he'll win. You know what I mean? If he has a clean sheet, fantastic. If he's not, he should get save points. And then after 6, Arsenal have got a great run. Midfield, Fernandes, Eze. Yeah, I'm not really liking both of them play. I'd rather just back one team, but you can see United conceding and Eze being that goal scorer, so I don't mind it too much. Minter, like you're saying, if he comes off the bench for 30 minutes, he can still do some damage. I think he does. And Embuemo, I'm very, very happy to have because I think Tottenham, they do concede one, at least two. Watkins, yeah, he's a lock in there. You could even captain Watkins, actually, thinking about it. Yeah, Pedro, I don't know if he's going to start. And then I've got a bit of drama on the bench. I've just wild carded and I've kind of got myself in a little bit of trouble of Lewis. That honeymoon period's ended a little bit, which was always going to be a bit of a nightmare. Does he start? Doesn't he start? Isaac, he'll come in if I know he's fit. And Big Keen, he was just for some of the fixtures. They've got good fixtures coming up, and I might utilise him off the bench at some point. But I'm going to roll this week for the fact of I think obviously I might get Haaland in next week. He's got a fantastic 3-game run that I don't think I can't have him for. So I've got 2 transfers, soon to be 3, and that's what I'll do. I'll probably downgrade Isaac and then probably bring Haaland in next week. But we'll see how it goes. Because he's got a blank sometime. Kieran, he blanked midweek.
This
Well,
week.
he blanked midweek when I captained him in UEFA fantasy.
And
Of
he's
course
going
he
to
did,
blank on Sunday
and I
when
think he blanked
Gabriel
on Sunday.
Jesus scores the winner. Well, not the winner, the opener. And
I think
then the
Havertz
icing
scores
on the
the opener.
top will be Raheem the Dream. He'll get his goal. He'll get his
Raheem
goal.
the Dream. I'd love
Against
that
Oh
against
my
City.
god. This is
Oh,
another City player against City. Another one. We've got another one. Cool. Well, look, I think that is our presentation today. I don't know why I said it that way. That was our presentation today.
I liked
Yeah,
it.
actually, let's go back to the team for a second.
Just to slate it. Yeah.
Just Keane again. It's just funny, right? It just is funny to look at. But I do like the way
Like
you've
both.
got it lined up here. I agree with you, mate. I do think like you've got some interesting players for this week. Some good, strong, exciting ones. If Bournemouth score, you'll be licking your wounds again. But I think
Yeah,
fundamentally you got some good ones. I'd probably agree with Bench and Lewis because I think maybe Walker even starts this one with Lewis playing the Champions League.
he might. He
And if he
might.
does, Guardiola will be more attacking, right? Because Walker will play more of a right centre back type of position. It'll be Gvardiol who inverts and moves attacking like he did last season. When
Yeah.
Lewis is playing, Lewis attacks, Gvardiol sits back, right? Sorry, he's about to jump away from me. Everyone might get a cat's bottom in their face there. But yeah, cool. All right, so that is your team. That was my team. Let's have a quick look. Any other? I was throwing a few things, but you were then loading them and answering them as we go, mate. So all good. Shane has said 1 game week left of no Haaland fear since no one's captaining him this week.
See, yeah, all these Haaland owners like, oh, I think Salah's the best option. Nah, you stand by what you're saying and you cap him. He's the best striker in the world. Get him capped.
No, but it is fine to have owned him and then not captain him just one of the weeks, right? It's absolutely fine. I think there's nothing wrong with any of the ways people have played.
Nah, that's done. It's a good. It's everyone plays different. That's what I like about it. Do you know what I mean? But this is the week, and I've said this to like Adam from above average and that I will be unbearable if and
But
when he blanks this
yeah, but
weekend.
you can't say this because like I did catch you on Streamception for the start of it, mate, and I heard you go, "I'm gonna say it," and you've said it on this podcast every week, right? I'm gonna say it. Harden blanks this week. Now
I've got to
look,
be right one time.
of course you do, but so's a broken clock twice a day, mate.
Yeah, but then what all we do is we just clip that one. It looks like I'm right, and then bam, the rest we just
Right, but
ignore.
the problem is you said he'd blank. If you do that and you clip that, we have James at LaunchPod Studios who will pull out every time that you said it before then. So yeah, I think
Yeah, Phil, yeah.
dangerous game to play there, mate. Look, having another quick scroll through here. Geddy, great show. Good luck with your game. Same to you. Blah,
Cheers,
blah,
Gary.
blah.
Thanks, mate.
Same to you, mate. Appreciate you joining us and sticking with us through this show. Always more enjoyable when we have sort of the chats from you and Shane throughout. Hopefully Newcastle turn up and keep him quiet. 75%. Oh, I think Shane's still playing catch up, isn't he? So Shane, yep. Hopefully we've answered all of your questions as we've gone through here. A guy called Jason Jablonski's come on here, and I'm not going to share his comment because it seems like blasphemy to me. I think we need to. How do we mute forever? No, obviously not, Jason. I'm just an Arsenal fan. And I can't even read what you've written there. Imagine if Haaland gets a blank against Saliba and Gabriel. Kieran will be unbearable. Yeah, you are correct. You are correct. I will be unbearable. Um,
Oh, cheers,
but
Gary. You need to bring that one up, mate. The one at
oh,
the end.
perfect.
I like that.
Awesome. Well, look, really for us, and I guess that this is the key thing, and the final thing I'll say at the end of this. And Shane, I imagine you're going to download this and chuck it onto Spotify as well for us as a
I will
podcast for
do,
people to
mate.
listen
I
to
will do.
tomorrow. But really for us, it's not about. We just want more people to listen and join in on some of the chats here. So really, we appreciate the people like Geddy and Shane and Jason, who's obviously jumped in now, and Perspective, who's on here, and Colm, who's often on here, and Onions, who's often here. We appreciate it when you jump in here, guys, and we just want to get more people on. We're going to get a bit more consistent with the timing, but just hopefully, if you see anything we post, particularly about these shows, if you can like and share it and spread the words, then we'll really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, exactly what you said, Kieran. I think we love bringing this content. I don't think there's anyone who kind of talks as much football, as,
Well,
without the
the
FPL
above
as we
average
do in
guys
terms.
do as well. That's what I really like about their
Yeah,
content
they're
of
good.
sort of going
They're good
through.
boys.
And I think what we're just trying to do is combine, obviously, what we see and then showing the data that tells you more than just the data that mirrors with what you see rather than XG, etc. So we do show those. But yeah, look, we're here for feedback. If you want us to start talking about other stuff, then drop us over notes on Twitter or anywhere else. But really appreciate everyone listening today. And it's about to hit midnight for both of us. So Shane, I'll hand it back over to you to sign us out.
Yeah, again, thanks everyone for coming, watching, listening, however you consume it. It'll be up on Spotify tomorrow, and yeah, good luck for the next game week, and we will see you next week. See you later.
Bye.